Hey everybody, welcome to a new Let's Play. This is Moral Anxiety Studios' text-based RPG, Roadwarden. This has got amazing reviews on Steam. It's a different kind of game than the ones I've played before. It's not an MMO, it's a single-player game. It looks to be almost completely text-based. It's got this kind of old-school pixel art style. And I've read nothing but good things. I haven't read too much about the plot, so I am still going in a little blind. But I'm really eager to see the storytelling that takes place and just how much imagery it can evoke with such a simple art style and a mostly text-based adventure. And so here we are. We're starting out with a difficulty setting. It looks like maybe there's some experienced people with these types of text-based games. I'm not sure what other games this could be compared to, as I have not really played too much in this genre. But here we go. We get presented with a scenario here. It looks like we're walking up to a camp surrounded by a wooden wall, a palisade, and we've got a decision to make. And it seems like the game is a series of decisions. And so far, I can say in this episode, I was able to navigate them without much consequence. I haven't met any backlash in the choices I end up making in this first session. However, I do anticipate that there is some risk later on in the game, and who knows, maybe if I had picked a different choice here in this session, I could have met an untimely end. So yeah, I walk up to the gate. I decide I'm going to get off my horse and explore and creep inside and see what's going on. And I discover that it's a military camp, and you see me trying to adjust the music volume. It is a little loud at first, and so I'm just trying to kind of adjust and make it a little bit easier for me to focus on the text. I find it difficult to read while there's loud noises. So I recognize that this is also the context menu, and so there's a quest log. There seems to be some sort of appendix or bestiary. There's a glossary. I don't explore it too much in this episode, but perhaps in a future episode we'll dig a little bit deeper. And it looks like you can also take your own notes. Here's the inventory, pretty rudimentary. However, I do like it has a little bit of charm in the style of the icons and the flavor text, and so I think that's really cool. The color combinations here that they've decided on are a little grating to my eyes, but I think I'll adjust. And so I see that there's two people sitting here inside this camp. I actually didn't notice this until I come back in post, but I didn't really pay attention to the visual, but they did a really good job of describing what they were talking about using just the text, because I kind of had this same imagery in my head, and I really didn't look off to the left and pay attention to the visual. We noticed that there's two soldiers in here. One of them has a mace. One of them is a female. She's wearing a similar armor type as us. It's a little loose. They said maybe they assume it's been taken off of somebody. So some backstory here. Apparently, there was a squad sent here to address the situation nearly 6 months ago, and there should have been 8 people here. However, our character here has only discovered 2. So there's a bearded man and an armored woman. We don't yet know their names, and we are welcomed with open arms so far, right? And so we also take up the opportunity to take the watch, because we see that it is maybe a dangerous situation, or they're a little tense, and so we take perch. We perch up on the top of this watchtower, and you notice in the image there's actually no watchtower at all. One of the soldiers here ends up suggesting that we just climb on top of those boxes in the far back corner of the encampment. I do like that there seems to be a personality system. You saw I could have been friendly, I could have been kind of terse, and I chose to be relatively neutral. I am kind with most of my responses here, and I offer to extend my hand and shake my hand to Tulia, who we discover is the female lieutenant, and for the next several minutes, I kind of explore the contextual options, the text options, sorry, the text responses, and just try to figure out as much as I can because I get the idea that if I don't take advantage of some responses when they're presented to me, that I may not be able to choose them later. And I choose. You see me here naming my character Armant. If you watched my Fabled Lands series, was our main character, and so he returns here as the Roadwarden. Uh, we still don't know the name of the other soldier in the shirt. We know Lieutenant Tulia, but we don't know the other guy's name yet. He has yet to be named, and so we get a little bit of context about horses. Um, Apparently they have an origin away from the area that we're in. They're from the Dragonwoods. They're brought to the Dragonwoods. We're in the Dragonwoods. They were brought from the south. We get a little bit of information about their endurance and their speed. And apparently we'll find out in a little bit that there are also other types of mounts. There are dinosaur saurian mounts that you could get that are a little bit more aggressive. I don't know if we can get them. I don't want to say that now. But we go back and retrieve our horse. We choose to be kind to it and lead it into the safety of the camp. Um, and we begin to unpack our pack. And so just to kind of provide a little bit more context for the menu, we have seem to have a health system off to the right, displayed by the heart. And now we get to choose our class. And so I chose to kind of explore and get a little bit more context on each of these choices. We have what looks like to be a melee fighter, a ranged mage, and then a scholar who seems to use trinkets and alchemical ingredients to fight. And so a little bit more context here. Mana is called Numa in this game, and we can run out of it. It's a limited resource. The scholar, requires us to gather resources to be able to use our various creations, our alchemical creations, and the fighter relies on a strength mechanic to use special abilities. Okay, and it looks like again, we can die. So we have vitality, and we can die if it reaches 0. So they also get some sort of conversation mechanic. Okay, so we open our inventory. I believe I open it back up again, and we discover that our pack is in shambles. Here I am. Click on the wrong menu item. We've got a few resources that have been added since we chose our class. We have an axe. We've got our gambeson still. Looks like we've got a couple other reagents in our pack. Just reading a little bit of the context here. It's a simple battle axe, mostly used by lumberjacks. So we don't have the epic battle axe of destruction yet. And so again, it looks like they were kind enough to serve us a bowl of whatever they're eating. We're extremely hungry from our journey, and I do decide to join them and take a look at the meal and eat whatever it is they have in this bowl at the end of the table. And so you can see the table here on the screen. There's 2 chairs. We sit on the log. Okay, got some gruel, some sort of millet, got some cereals in it, and some blueberries. Pretty nutritious, a lot of fiber, it sounds like. Okay, we get a little bit of background on the Roadwardens. So they seem like loners. They don't engage in open combat. Sorry, and they perform a variety of services among in addition to keeping the roads safe. Right, they may maintain commerce and deliver messages. We see our armor icon come up on the right. Since we're eating, it looks like we have a hunger mechanic as well that will probably aid us in our endeavors. So a little bit more background to why the squad is so thin. 5 of them died when 1 of them ran away, and leaving the only 2 here that we're talking to. Okay. Now they start to ask us questions about what I know, and we didn't get a lot of guidance. We are working on behalf of, I guess, somebody in power to kind of pacify the area so that trade can resume. I think is kind of the gist that I got out of our conversation here. And so I go through each of these context, these different context menus with the responses to try to get as much information as I can about the world building, about where I'm at, to try to see how much I can envision in my imagination, because I'm not really sure how much of this is going to be presented visually with this being a text-based RPG. Um, and so, like I said, I do end up exploring a little bit more and finding out a little bit more about the geography, what happened to the Roadwarden that was in service before me. You saw earlier that I lost my rope, and so maybe they'll give me a new rope. Uh, and the peninsula that we're on has a forested area. It's kind of off the coast, and we're about 4 days away from a major city called Hovlavin. Hopefully, I'm not pronouncing that incorrectly. Okay, and then we give them a little bit of response about how hard it is to navigate this wild part of the coast. Still don't get the guy's name, which I don't know why it took so long for us to learn his name. Um, there is an inn to the north of us that we can go to, that I imagine we will go to in one of our future sessions. Um, they ask us about our religious affiliation. I thought this was really cool. It provides our character with a little bit more backstory while also allowing us to kind of dig into the world building a little bit more. So there's this United Church, there's an Order of Truth, um, there is a fellowship, which is kind of like, it seems like a sect, or a miniature religion. I can be a pagan, and then I can also just be a non-believer, and I choose non-believer just to see how that might affect how they interact with me. So, and apparently it's assumed that road wardens kind of are not very religious. Um, they talked about this weird village in a bog, and something called an eremite. I don't know if that's a race or an ethnicity, a nationality, and it looks like she means a fellowship. So I don't know if it's a group, and maybe it's a group or a cult. Apparently, they practice necromancy to allow them to harvest trees and farm. Maybe is kind of the gist I got at the end of this discussion. So it bugs me how long it takes for us to learn this guy's name. It really does. Like, we get Tulia's name like right away, and you know, it's weird to me. So again, we continue to ask questions. A little bit more about the bestiary or the world building. Looks like there's goblins in this world, trents, cats. I don't know what a runner is, a howler, wolves, spike boars, mouflon eaters, griffins, which I think we have some around our camp here. We get told about them soon. We get a little bit more about these, the geography and the wilderness, and a little bit more about these necromancers. And I really wanted to exhaust all of the text responses just to see everything I could learn, because I don't know if it's also something that I'll be able to bring up later, since I heard it in a previous dialogue option. Because, like I said, I don't really have a lot of experience um, in these types of games. So, uh, we ask a little bit more about offering to learn a little bit more about the previous road warden, and we find out that they're actually giving us a quest. And so, another reason I wanted to exhaust all of the responses was to see if there's some hidden dialogue option or additional opportunity to learn more about the game, or even, again, like this is happening, take on a quest. We learned that the previous road warden may not be dead. They're not sure, but they say that they have his belongings, and they want to return them to his kids in a village near the major city of Laven. Okay, so he had a pouch, a second spear, uh, in addition to the one he had, a decent bow and some potions. And so to get this stuff, though, they want us to go talk to their commander for future orders. Okay. So they say they've got to stay. They want us to go uh, figure out what they have to do. And so we get a new journal entry, find the Roadwarden. So it's kind of a quid pro quo here. They want us to go do something for them and then come back and they'll give us what we need to continue this particular quest. Um, and so I think I clicked through the rest of these rather quickly. I talk about the rope. She's like, great, we have a rope. It's over there. Go grab it. Um, a regular rope made of hemp fibers. I'll take it and offer some food. I give her some food, and they thank us. I'm sure that rope is going to come in handy in the future. Okay. So, um, we end up inquiring a little bit more about the squad. We ask her about how she became a lieutenant. And let's see. Now, they're a little cagey about some of this stuff. And so this is at this point, I get the impression that, and because I still haven't learned this guy's name, I get the impression that these two are not on the up and up, right? I don't know if they're good guys or bad guys or they're going to eventually double cross me. I'm like 70-30 that they're probably going to double cross us in the future. Like when we come back and give them whatever they want, they may double cross us. Or we may come back and, something else untoward is going to happen to us. So, uh, you know, we we commend them for clearing out and making this place safer. They've cleared out some griffins or some beasts. We're gonna see that they actually we wake up after the Nightwatch here to see that they've claimed another baddie from killing us and or from harming us in some way, and that's actually how we end the episode coming up. And so they don't. Again, I'm a little uncertain as to whether or not they can be completely trusted. Um, we find out how Tulia became the lieutenant. The previous lieutenant died. The second in command was the previous lieutenant's boyfriend. He sacrificed himself as well, and so she automatically became lieutenant. And we also discover after selecting this next text option that she expects to be demoted as soon as she returns to her post. Okay. Um, yeah, so I'll get demoted once we return to the city. She wants to be a follower anyway. Okay, so they remind us again about the inn. We can also get a room there, apparently. And the main hall that we enter is free of charge. So hopefully we can remember some of these things. But there is a note section, so I wonder how much of this I should be writing down. Okay. And it looks like our most recent conversation is saved in an archive. And if we stay clean, keep our appearance pretty clean, it looks like we can also influence some dialogue choices, which again, kind of layering the mechanics slowly here. So from a gameplay and a tutorialization aspect, I like how they're doing this, where everything's happening right here in front of us. We're kind of being guided through each of the choices and things are being revealed to us, one at a time, one step at a time. And I really like that. The soldier in the shirt. If I swear to God, if I see that again, it's gonna trigger me. So he tells us where we can go to keep watch. There's the stack of boxes that I referenced earlier. He gave us a great view at the northern side of the camp here. Okay. And so now we take our night watch. You can see the transition on the visual, the drawing on the left. We're watching off to the northern part of the encampment. We close the gate. They're sleeping in the tents. Okay. We see that there's some monsters that appear. There's a 3-horned deer. There's a dragonling, and they kind of look like they're about to clash, but they don't. and nothing crazy happens overnight. Thankfully, I was worried that this might be like the first opportunity to die, and yet we survived with little to no uh, threat. So there's a musk oxen, there's a lynx, a dusk fox, all animals in the bestiary, I'm sure. And we get over to take a nap in the tent, and the man in the shirt covers the rest of our watch. Okay. So this reminds us how much time we have. So we have about 40 days to be exact, and we have to be as thorough as we can to accomplish our mission. Another dialogue option that allows us to choose a kind of a golden path, I think. I imagine these are all different endings to the game. And so we have six different options. I immediately gravitate towards this bottom option. I need to find a new life for myself. I find it difficult. I have a difficult past, and I want it to be forgotten. And so ultimately I choose that one. So we'll see. Who knows? Maybe what I'll do in the playlist here is play the game through. Uh, I'll play it one time through as a scholar, and then try to experience all the other endings. Perhaps adding it to the playlist, just the ending though, just so we can kind of see everything. But don't hold me to that just yet. We'll see how we enjoy the game. Um, so we wake up. The sunlight wakes us up. We gather our things, and then we immediately smell burning meat, rotten meat. We walk outside. We see a burning pyre, and there's a body on it. And they used our horse's manure to fuel the flames, and apparently they killed a zombie, a young zombie. They speared her from a distance, and then they burned her because apparently if they don't burn the zombies, then uh, they uh, they're a danger to they're a threat to life. Okay, so now we prepare to leave, and they tell us if we want to come back, they'll be here. We put on all of our stuff. We get in our saddle, our horse knickers, and we are on our way to the crossroads. And so that is something we're going to keep until the next episode. We did make it through our first um, mission, I would call it, our first, I believe, fork in the road, which was getting through this Nightwatch. And we'll see what the game has in store for us in the future. Just kind of inspecting a few of my items. I eventually do open the map, which I'm glad they have a fog of war mechanic. It looks like everything that is in store for us is going to be revealed to us as we discover it, and that's really exciting. So um, just kind of inspecting some of our goods here. I didn't get a chance to mouse over everything before. We did get to keep that rope. We picked it up off the table, and yeah, guys, go ahead and save the game, and I'll see you in episode 2, where we travel and leave the camp, leave these two soldiers behind, and travel towards the north, towards the crossroads. So I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you next time with more Roadwarden. Take care, guys.